I'm very, very, very pleased to have with me today Vicky McKenna. Vicky came and worked with me on my 21-day intensive transformation package. Vicky, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm really looking forward to this because this was a transformation that didn't go perfect. And I love that because we're not perfect as human beings. And it's interesting, I think, to go through this story. So before we get into it, just tell everybody who you are, what you do, and a little bit about what it was that you needed to resolve.
Okay, so yeah, I'm Victoria McKenna. I own a women's wear brand. I'm a working editor, and I recently started up a t-shirt clothing printing business as well. And I have a little 1-year-old. And the reason why I approached Marcus eventually for help was because post-natally I had some real anxiety issues which I'd never experienced before in my life. Probably a touch of depression in there, who knows. I never really got it properly diagnosed or formally diagnosed, but after going around in circles, I came to Marcus.
This is a funny story, and I think it needs to be told. So this is actually the story of how I got to meet you, because it wasn't you came to me. So we're in another networking group. I'd created this manifestation course, and I was looking to do a t-shirt, and you were local to me, so we got talking, and you know we've chatted. We've got that on. You can go and buy that course, and we'll put the link, because we're doing a special offer from your website that people can get to get the t-shirt and the manifestation course. We'll do that anyway later. But we've been chatting, hadn't we? And you'd said it seems really interesting what you do, and you kind of intimated that you were struggling a little bit, and Astro's amazing, your little daughter, but obviously that's me saying that on the other side. My kids are grown up a little bit now, so I don't have all of that emotion anymore. So yeah, so we got chatting, didn't we? And it was interesting because you said, yeah, I need to go and do something. I need to do something. And you said those two things, time and money, the big two things that stop people getting help. Now, I want to ask, you were feeling the way that you're feeling. So forget the fact you work with me. What was it that was stopping you actually going seeing a therapist, going seeing a counselor, going seeing, you know, that normal route that people go down to have talking therapy? What was it that stopped you actually going down there and trying to resolve this issue?
Okay, so when not too long after I'd given birth, you get all this information from NHS information from the midwives, and they could obviously see that I was struggling. I was in so much pain for longer than I should have been in, due to, you know, issues that were cropping up here, there, and everywhere. And they give you a list or a little booklet which lists lots of, I guess, therapy avenues you can take. And when I was in such pain and having this terrible anxiety, I tried contacting some, and the numbers were either constantly engaged, no answer, completely uncontactable. Bearing in mind this was still sort of during lockdown periods, so I guess people may not have even been at, you know, working, so they may have been short-staffed. I just couldn't get through to anyone, so I gave up.
I think that's a familiar story. I think we know we have a mental health crisis, you know, and mental health is such a broad range. It's like anxiety. People often are struggling and they go, I haven't got anxiety, but actually I'm not feeling great anyway. And I was the same. So that's the reason why I think that this is important. And what were your thoughts around therapy, about going in and having therapy? What was, because you're a busy person, you like getting things done, I know. So what was your thoughts around that, going, all right, if I need to have therapy, what's that going to look like? Is it something that you embraced?
Yeah, I have had some kind of talking therapy once, not long after my divorce. I would say it was nice to talk, but afterwards I didn't really feel any significant benefit. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was like talking to it was just having someone there to listen and
Like taking the backpack off, handing it to somebody else to hold, and then once you finish, they give it you back, and then you walk out the door again. That's my experience. That's the way I don't know if that was the same for you.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad thing, but I thought in this instance that is not good enough anyway.
Yeah,
Really.
and this
Even
is the
though I
challenge,
tried.
isn't it? Yeah.
I
So
tried, but
that's, I would say, when people think of therapy, that's what people think. I go and see somebody, I talk to them, they go, oh, everything's going to be okay, or whatever. So we tend not to, I think therapy's been damaged a little bit by thinking that talking, that's what therapy is, and it's not. So that obviously is going to have an impact on any reservations. What were your reservations? Because I think, given what you've just said about that kind of talking therapy and why am I going to pay even more money if that's what it looks like? What were your reservations about kind of coming working with me, given that we'd kind of built a relationship up as in you knew who I was and I wasn't some kind of scam artist, and you know, I actually knew what I was doing. What were your reservations?
Okay, so I suppose the longer I left it, well, initially there was, you know, the money, parting with that amount of money feels quite painful, really, because having had not a brilliant past experience of therapy, and I'm not saying that I was assuming yours would have been of that quality or lack of quality, but it does sort of leave that in the back of your mind, doesn't it?
It's valid.
But
It's valid. I think most people go through that. Yeah.
But obviously timing and things had sort of dipped in the business a bit because of the pandemic, and that's hit retail. You know, it's all over the show. You can't predict any sales, whatever. So that was in the back of my mind, and I thought, oh, how am I gonna sort of time it? How, you know, there's got to be a good time. There's never a good time, is there? You know, financially, when you're trying to, you know, meet your own sales targets, and then time-wise, well, you throw a 1-year-old in the mix.
Exactly. And if you're going for therapy and you're going for 6 to 10 sessions of therapy and you've got a little one, you know, it's tough, isn't it? You know, you're running a business, you've got a husband, bless Taryn, you've got a husband, you've got a little one, you know, you've then throw COVID into the mix, you then throw all the other economic stuff into the mix. You're overwhelmed anyway, so the overwhelm is even more. So then to go, oh, I'm going to go and have 6 sessions of CBT or whatever, is you got it's not worth it, is it? Before the session, obviously I told you about it, I'd sent you a lot of stuff over, information, videos. Was the session, when you talk about hypnotherapy, was what happened in the session what you thought it would be?
No.
What did you think it was going to be? And then obviously, without going into too much detail, what was the experience like?
So I've never experienced hypnotherapy before. I sort of had a bit of a romantic view on it, I suppose, you know, from the movies, you know, lying back and then, you know, just all the problems come out and then suddenly it's okay and the problems aren't that bad. But in the reality was that it was all a bit weird and a bit skew-iff, but it made sense.
Yeah.
And yes, obviously most people's issues do go back, you know, way back, because, you know, weird things happen in our lives, don't they?
Yeah.
You don't know that actually that's triggered some lifelong weird pattern of behavior.
And I think this is important because just remind everybody, what was the reason why you came to me?
Okay, so I really wanted to nail this postnatal anxiety I had.
Did your session have anything to do with postnatal, anything to do with having a baby?
No, nothing.
No.
There was no mention of giving
But
birth.
was the feeling that we found the root cause of the same kind of feeling that you had and the same physical experiences that you had in this kind of anxiety, this depression? And obviously we're not going to go into it, but you've just said you could see the link. There was this, if we imagine that there's the root cause and then it's the feeling has attached itself to several stories throughout your life. And this was the one where it really hit home. Is that a good analogy?
Yes.
Of what happened?
Yeah.
Okay. So we go through the session. It was a good session. It did go deep. Granted, we had some crazy stuff come up. So post session, so we come out of hypnosis, we've done all that sort of stuff. How did you feel after the session? Literally just after, compared to when you went in?
I felt really good. Just really good. Like really.
In what way? If you're going to describe that feeling, you know, I know what you mean, because often when people have those anxious feelings or that overwhelm, and especially if you've had it for a long time, it feels part of you. So did you feel like something had lifted or?
Yeah, so I felt a lot happier. I felt like something had been removed. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
But it was a bit weird.
It's like mind surgery, mind and heart surgery, isn't it? It's the feeling is extracted. Now, I just want to pause here, because one of the only stipulations I really have with my clients is that they listen to their transformation recording for 21 days after they've had the session. Vicky's now going to explain that she didn't do that, but she still got back on track. The only stipulation I have with any of my clients is that every day you listen to your transformation recording, because that is where the neuroplasticity happens. That's where the mind starts to change and the feelings start to change and they become permanent. Vicky, did you listen to the recording every day?
At the start, I did. And then it sort of tapered off.
Yeah. And I think this is really interesting, because I think you probably don't think, oh, listening to recording is going to have that much of an impact on anything. So you listen to the recording, and then obviously life got in the way and you find it hard to listen to the recording. What happened?
It all just sort of started getting worse again.
Yeah.
Just sort of spiraling and too overwhelming, arguing.
Yeah.
And just finding it difficult to get tasks done, like work tasks and daily tasks.
But did you find it valuable in some ways that you'd got the coaching on top of that? Because we obviously had those deep conversations. We looked at what had happened in the session. Obviously, you said you hadn't listened. And I remember you saying to me, have I messed it up? I think you said, because I've not been listening to the recording. So I think there was a bit of guilt and all the rest of it that you hadn't followed the process, because I could follow the process. But we got back on track. Yep. And there's something called the healing crisis that happens. It's part of the nervous system rebooting. And I said this to you at the end after the session, between day 7 and 10 is when, up to day 10 is when things can go a little bit up and down. And that's why I always put the coaching in that day 7 to make sure we can keep on track. Anyway, you got back on track.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit, what started to happen once you got back on track?
I certainly became more motivated, just in general, and then I started getting inquiries and orders coming in for my printing business.
For 21 days and beyond, how are you and how's the business?
So now the business is growing quite quickly. So I've been really surprised. I've been far more active on social media about it. which could obviously, the algorithms could be picking that up, I suppose, and putting it in front of more eyes. But I'm getting far more inquiries and lots of orders from really nice local businesses, which is really lovely. And I'm enjoying it. So that's
if we look at that,
yeah.
So you came to me initially for anxiety and kind of depression and feeling low, what would be postnatal depression.
Yeah.
That was what you came to me for.
Yep.
The outcome
Yeah, it's something different.
It's something so the root cause was something completely different. Kind of things are getting better. Clearly, you're still going to have bad days.
Yes.
You know, and I think we need to recognize that. But when you have bad days, do you feel that you can just sit with it, allow it, knowing that things are going to flow and then things have opened up again?
Yeah, I know. Well, I know it's just a moment in time.
Yeah, it's just a season, isn't it? And now you're starting to see the business growing a little bit. And clearly it's still short term. So, but would you say, this is my question. If we reverse all the way back, we started this conversation, you'd had an experience previously with therapy. Obviously, you're in a really low place. It's very difficult to make a decision when we think what therapy might look like and is it worth it and all of the overwhelm. You said was the cost of going through that process was probably going to be more, you know, stress and all the rest of it. So in retrospect, you came on my 21-day intensive and everything you said, this is the question, please say yes. Was it worth the money? Was it worth the time? And did you feel supported? Did it seem like what you would deem as normal therapy?
I should have done it a hell of a lot sooner. I wished I had, but yeah, it's the best thing that I've done towards my health postnatally, definitely.
And what's the biggest thing that, if you were going to pick up, what is the thing that is different? What's the thing that, compared to the fact you've had therapy before, what is the thing that was different and why was the value there?
I think it's really important to understand that you can't put a price on your mental health. Obviously you need to go through it to understand exactly how important it is to get to the bottom of those problems if they're really stopping you living your life.
Is the cost of staying where you were, if we look at the two now, you come out the other side, if you were to go, right, if I was going to look at the cost of paying for it and the cost of where I was and how I was feeling, which was the highest cost that you would have had to have paid?
Well, I would have just completely have carried on just going down this rabbit hole. Where would that have gone?
But do you feel you've got the tools now? You've got the ability really to become your own therapist, to become your own coach when things get tough?
Yeah. So yeah, as well as the session and finding out, you know, what the problems were and why, which is really important, and that support. Now I understand. I still do the meditation, still do it. And I'll do other meditations as well, and your breathing exercises, and gradually bringing in lots of different things that are going to help.
What message, if somebody's listening to this and they're wearing that armor, and showing up that life's great and everything's brilliant, but those kind of clouds of doubt and those clouds of anxiety and depression that we get, that mist, that veil that comes over us, if they've got that and they know they need to do something but they're scared of doing it, they don't want to do, what would your advice be if you were going to speak to you kind of back then? What would be the key takeaways of why this is important and why it's worth spending that money?
Well, your mind, okay, so your mind is you, isn't it? You've got to look after it. Yeah, it's so important, I think, really, to if you know you're not going to be able to sort your anxiety out yourself. I don't know if anyone really can, but you really do. There's nothing wrong with seeking that help. It's actually not expensive when you really look down
And did it take much time?
Into it. It didn't. No, I thought, this is going to be really time consuming. It wasn't at all. And a million times worth it.
If you've got value out of this interview with Vicky and you'd like to connect with her, I'm going to give you all of that information now. But it's really important to remember that your mind is the driving force to everything you do. So if you did get value out of this interview and you'd like to get in contact, then please do. You can go to my website, which is www.makeyourlifecount.co.uk. We're going to pass back over to Vicky now to tell you how you can contact her and find out more about her amazing business, which is moving forward now, all thanks to her making her life count.
So they can go to the website, victoriajmckenna.com. Where can they find you on Instagram? What are your socials so they can connect with you on there?
So social handle for the main brand is VGM Active, at VGM Active on Instagram and Facebook. And then Shroppy T-shirts is at Shroppy T-shirts.
Good name.
On all of them.
Cool. So this is going to go on my YouTube channel. I'll probably put it on Talking Minds as well on my podcast. So if you are interested in connecting with Vicky and you want to find out about how you can make that transformation in your life that's quick, simple, effective, and permanent, we'll put all the links in there. So Vicky, thank you very much for taking this time to speak to me. And I'm sure we'll be doing other things in the future, but it's really nice of you to take this time to speak to me. And yeah, let's say goodbye to everybody, and we'll have a good Easter because we're doing this just before Easter. So thank you, everybody, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.